Thank you to Donkey Crew and Snail Games for sponsoring this video. Pick up Bellwright today through the link in the description. Bellwright, a survival-based medieval RPG where you play as a rebel leader commanding villages against the oppression of the crown. It's a very deep game with a lot to master, and with the Maiden Voyage update, you'll have a whole new map to explore and even more to get your head around. You can waste hours doing things inefficiently, and I, Midgeman, do not want that for you. I want you to be the glorious, efficient warlord you were meant to be. We're about to cover 5 topics you must know before playing to put you on the path to lead the revolution and be ready to face the challenges of this massive content update. So make like a Bellwright and ring that notification bell down below the video, and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. And if you're a master, let me know your biggest tips in the comments down below to help other aspiring revolutionaries. Without further ado, let's get to the first tip. Tip 1. Optimizing your start. In the wise words of Julie Andrews, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start, and in Bellwright, there are no truer words than that. Besides, if you want to get to the new late game content, you're going to need to give yourself the boost early on in this massive title. As the game is both a survival base builder and an RPG, you'll be spending a lot of time gallivanting around doing quests. So today we're starting with the most important thing you'll do in the first 30 minutes of the game, which is where you decide to drop your first meager wooden shack. Now, there are 2 key features we need to keep in mind when selecting our town's location: resources and travel time. Let's open the map. Many other guides on this topic will tell you one thing: build in Sunsteep Valley. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the regions have since been split up and reworked. So originally, the meta place to build was right here in what is now Oakridge, to the right of the main road, sort of on the border between Herndine, Padstow and Bradford. Well, in this gamer's opinion, that is wrong. Let's highlight some key locations and resources on the map to get a better perspective. In Bellwright, there are 4 major resource groups that you'll need to worry about early on: metals, construction goods, food, and textiles. Both Greenhill Meadows and Silver Lake have copper ore veins, but only Oakridge in the Herndine region has tin. So metalworking wise, we want to place our settlement at a center point between the copper veins, close to the tin vein. We also want to keep in mind that deep forest locations will be a major source of food and wood for us in the early game, and we won't have the ability to really replace those resources en masse until we develop a tier 2 settlement. Therefore, we don't want to cut down too many trees early on, but we want to be close enough that our workers don't have to go too far to grab said resources. Rock is pretty easy to get everywhere, so we're going to kind of ignore it, but an important part of the early game is this final resource group: textiles. And the main early source of flax is right here in this meadow region of Oakridge, and all of the rivers are located in either Padstow or Bradford region, which is where you'll get your reeds. In Bellwright, building on top of a resource destroys it. Therefore, we want to converge somewhere between all of these points. We also need to remain close to Herndine, as the main quest giver for the entire game lives there. And until we can fast travel with road signs, let's not move too far away. With that in mind, you should build here, in this little region between the woods, to the left of the main road. You're in a decently quick walking distance from Herndine and Padstow. You can productively flow ores to a centralized point around a single metalworking location situated right next to the tin vein. You have mud for tier 2 construction and ample access to lots of resources. In addition to this, there are also shopkeepers: Alex Herbalist Hut and the Craftsman Hut. Furthermore, as the crow flies, you're slightly closer to the river reeds in Padstow than you would be the ones in Bradford, and you do not risk destroying the wonderful meadows, giving you ample reserves of flax to pick from. In every waking moment not spent researching, flax is your first priority. Forget logs, forget stones. Your first hour of gameplay needs to be dedicated to becoming a human flax harvesting machine. Get as much of it as you can. You'll need it for so many textiles and crafting materials in the early game, which will form a hard backbone on progress. and you'll want to push to increase your personal storage and settlement storage early on, making sure you've got a decent stockpile of flax to do so. Setting up a dedicated research area with nearby camp chests so that early on your villagers can pull from storage quickly is also advisable. Getting that done on day 1 is huge because you can't even begin to tech until you get to day 2 and develop through the early quest lines. Your tech order after this, once you get your first settler, should be as follows: logging camp, stockpile; foraging camp, weaver's loom; and then the first backpack upgrade from said weaver's loom. The one downside to this location is a small bandit camp that does spawn just across the ridgeline, but early game, that's fine. Intentionally leaving a low-level bandit camp near your main settlement is kind of meta, as raids will come from the camp closest to your settlement, and also the bandits will respawn, allowing you to farm a little bit of renown. And besides, our next tip will help you handle raids when you do decide to destroy it. Tip 2. Mastering combat efficiency. Now, let's talk about the sharp end of the stick: combat. Bellwright has a tough but decently detailed combat system. It has directional melee and blocking, which can be tricky, and being a medieval game, you'd think it's all about armor and damage stats, but the real meta, the real true hidden power, is movement speed. The Archer Kite. If you're using a bow, you can effectively run circles around nearly every early to mid-game enemy. Shoot, run, you can clear an entire bandit camp without taking a scratch. It's the ultimate disrespect. You are faster than them, so you decide when and how the fight happens. The other option is the melee flank. If you're fighting in melee, high speed allows you to quickly get around an enemy's shield or attack as they wind up and hit them in the back or the side for massive damage. Invest in gear and foods that boost your movement speed. You want to be a blur. Remember, this is not a solo adventure. When a real fight breaks out, a proper raid for example, you can evolve this into a simple combat plan that comes in 3 elements. Number 1, the tank and spank. Dedicate your most durable, highest health followers to carry shields and wear heavy armor. Their job is quite simple: hold the line, draw aggro. They are the meat shields. The other settlers that you've got, you can position around as archers well behind the tank wall where they can output massive, safe damage. And then finally, the third part, the Midgeman maneuver. You, the player, should be a mobile unit, either kiting with a bow or flanking shield users to land critical hits. You are the special forces of the army. Stop trying to slug it out face to face in a medieval mosh pit. Use speed, use distance, and use your followers as disposable yet loyal pawns. That's how you win every single fight. Oh, and some final little bonus tips. When kiting, aim your bow ever so slightly to the left of an individual's face coming towards you for a better headshot chance, and whenever you hire someone, mark them as a reservist through the inspect menu. If you do that, whenever you're under attack, you can simply press N to access the Call Militia option from the little hamburger menu, and all of your troops will come running. Tip 3. Knowledge books and leveling. This one is a little nugget of gold that I almost missed and is entirely based on maximizing your skill progression. We all know those knowledge books are amazing. They grant a massive chunk of skill experience, but are a huge investment as they take 30 in-game minutes to read. You need to use them correctly. What is the correct way? Well, stuffing your face with yummy food, of course! After all, who can learn on an empty stomach? Certain foods, like cranberries or even some higher tier meals, will grant you an XP gain bonus as a buff for a period of time. This is a percentage increase to all experience gains. And guess what counts as an experience gain? That instant, massive chunk of XP from completing a knowledge book. The foods are as follows: cloudberries giving plus 50% skill gain, cranberries giving 30% and cranberry jam offering plus 80%, fish stew provides plus 20% but also a productivity bonus, and then apples give you plus 20% and are actually available for purchase in Blackridge Pool. Here's the real kicker. You can stack multiple foods with different XP bonuses to maximize the gain. For example, a combination of cloudberries, 50%, fish stew, 20%, and cranberries, 30%, can give you a total of a 100% bonus to experience. Here's a bonus tip. Don't waste the combat books on your workers. Their combat skills don't matter as much as yours. You need to be the one leveling up your combat skills the fastest after all. Use the crafting, gathering, and survival books on the workers that are specializing in those tasks. This ensures you create a village of specialists and a player who is an unstoppable killing machine. And guess what? You can feed your villagers the same XP gain modifier food to give them bonuses to their education as well. Furthermore, you can manage the education of your population through the Tier 2 library building, and honestly, I wouldn't endeavor to make the most out of books until then. Tip 4. The N-Key Automation Savior. This tip is one that prevents you from becoming a micromanaging parent to dozens of incompetent medieval peasants. When you start to get a decent number of buildings and villagers, you'll notice everyone doing whatever the heck they want. The builders are fishing, the archers are chopping wood, and the research is stalled. You need to take control, but you need to do it with the town management menu, or the N key, instead of trying to do everything your damn self all of the time. The game allows you to set priority for almost every task in the village, from 1 being the highest priority down to 9 being the lowest priority. The golden rule. Tier 1 should be your research and critical building. Always set your current research bench to priority 1 as you want that tech now. Tier 2 should be essential food and production. Tasks like cooking, turning flax into linen, or farming should be set to about 2 or 3. These are the things that keep the engine running. Tiers 5 through 9 should be your gathering and maintenance. Everything else, chopping down endless forests, gathering random stones, repairing minor damage, it can all be done in the low tiers once you've gotten past the stage of living in houses made of twigs. You don't need to set the priority globally either. You could do it on individual structures. Your villagers will literally drop what they're doing to go and do that task if they're assigned to it. You can also do it on a villager basis from their job roles. And if you don't use this priority system, you're just crossing your fingers and hoping your villagers decide to build that kitchen before the first blizzard hits. Be the master of your domain and set priorities and let the automation engine do the heavy lifting. Tip 5. Logistics and travel. Look at your villagers. They're strong, they're loyal, and they're definitely not getting paid. But they're also terrible at time management. The biggest time waster in your village is simple: walking. Every minute a villager spends trudging across your entire settlement with a single log is a minute they're not producing, not researching, and not fueling the revolution. The best strategy in Bellwright is a hybrid storage model that leans towards a centralized system in your main settlement, supplemented by dedicated local storages at crafting stations and outposts. First and foremost, master the art of outposts. It took me 20 in-game hours to find that you can assign any building at any time to a new outpost through the N key. This is important to streamline logistics, so let's break it down. Setting up a main central storage area in your primary village is crucial for the overall inventory management and accessibility for all of your villages. This allows villagers to consistently find items and move them to the appropriate places without walking between many scattered locations within the main base. Surrounding that central storage is where you want to build your crafting buildings and industry, and then further out than that, you will build the housing. The central location will serve as an effective hub for deliveries from all of your outposts. To optimize the efficiency and prevent bottlenecks, you should have dedicated local storages by placing a small chest or stockpiles with specific item filters and minimum stock levels to the relevant crafting stations, e.g. putting a chest with a minimum of 20 wood near a smoker or cauldron, or say an armory or toolmaker. Haulers will automatically top up these local inventories, ensuring the crafters have immediate access to the materials. Outposts should have their own storage to gather local resources, which can be set up for a bulk daily delivery to the main settlement. For the love of God, make outposts. You can do this even more efficiently in the coming content drop, as Bellwright is adding caravan stations, in which assigned villagers can run logistics between settlements and outposts with the power of carts. Carts are new and are essentially camp chests on wheels. You can also carry them around personally if you want to drag one into the wilderness while you forage. Carefully manage which items are allowed in each container using the item filters. Set up transit routes with your carts. This prevents items being stored inappropriately and far away from where they're needed. Use the minimum maximum settings in your storage and job priorities to control the flow of the items and ensure essential items like food and tools are always available where needed. Tip 6. Become the Karen in HR. Here at the Midgeman's World, we never leave you with just 5 tips, so let's leave you with some golden truths. Okay, you've got the perfect spot. You've mastered warfare and your logistics are humming, but your workers, there's still a bunch of slow-moving, unmotivated freeloaders. This final tip is about maximizing your human capital. The first truth: morale is not optional. You see that morale bar? It looks like a nice little quality of life feature. It is not. It is arguably the most powerful multiplier in the game. This is the kicker. Morale directly affects your villagers' max HP, stamina, productivity, and their damage bonus. A happy villager isn't just a fast lumberjack. A happy villager is a battle-hardened, HP-stacked machine who will take out bandits twice as fast and won't drop dead from a paper cut. What tanks morale? 3 things. Mainly being hungry, being wounded, and living in a building that doesn't match your current technology tier, which is dictated by your village's center building. The fixes are simple. Feed them well, don't just give them stale bread, and as you unlock better cooking, make sure they have access to a variety of cooked meals. Make sure you check housing. If you've unlocked houses but your villagers are still in tier 1 huts, their morale will suffer. You need to upgrade their living quarters to match the current tier you're in. Your spoiled little workers demand luxury. And finally, win. Nothing boosts morale like a successful defense. When a raid comes, you crush them and your entire camp gets a morale spike. Conversely, if you let your villagers get pummeled, it drops. Morale is what separates the thriving settlement from the doomed mud hut community. Don't skip morale. Here's the second truth. Your villagers have a skill ceiling. Every single villager you recruit has a max skill level or potential for every trait that you cannot exceed. Don't waste your rare, expensive knowledge books on a chump whose stats are capped too low. Do not be afraid to hire and fire. If their combat stats are trash, if their max skills are too low, dismiss them and get your renown back. Here's the third truth. Villagers are better at their jobs than you are. You, the player, should never construct buildings or craft goods yourself. Villagers build things 3 times faster than you, and despite your personal skills ranking up, they usually still do the mundane stuff better. Your job is revolution, not carpentry. Who are you, Jesus? Finally, the meta game secret. Master gear sets. You need to separate work clothes from fighting clothes. Full tier 2 heavy armor gives your villagers a speed reduction of about 30%. That's insane! Why would you make your lumberjack walk around the whole day in combat gear? The fix? Use the gear set menu to define roles. Workers, assign them work gear sets, which should be light or no armor. They need speed to move around resources and get back to work. And then for guards and reservists, assign them heavy armor, shields, and the best weapon. Then when you hit N to sound the call to arms, they will instantly go to swap into their raid gear. By ruthlessly maximizing the potential of your recruits and dressing them appropriately for the job, you turn a group of hapless peasants into an automated, efficient, medieval corporation. Hire smart, fire harder. Make sure your production people are half naked and fast. That is the Midgeman way. And with that, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or other tips, please head right down to the comments. If you'd like to see the channel grow, please remember to subscribe and like this video. Your support will keep driving us to do more. It goes a long way and it's completely free for you to do, so just do it! Thank you once again to Donkey Crew and Snail Games for sponsoring this video. You can pick up Bellwright today through the link in the description, and if you're not finished watching, here's some more content you should definitely check out. I've been Midgeman, and I'll see you in the next video.